Greetings and welcome to Astronomy at Hack. Our discussion board for this week is going to involve classifying some stars. We've talked about spectral classification in class and how we look at the different lines to determine the different types of stars, and it tells us about the star's temperature. Now, when you first go to that exercise, you'll see that there's a lot of basic information, and it wouldn't hurt to read that for a little bit of a review. But what we're looking for is we're going to do take where it says click here for some practice. And if we take that and go in, it's a practice quiz. You don't want to do the regular quiz because that'll actually ask you for email and everything and submits your results. Now, when you log in, you should come up with something like this. And you should come up with a star here. This is the star you're trying to identify. And then you put the comparison spectra. So these are spectra. This is a known M0 star. This is a known M2 star. And we're trying to compare that to this star. Does that look anything, do either of those look anything like the star? It doesn't really look like it. They're not even close. So maybe it's a K-type star. So what if we put a K0 type on top and then a K5 on the bottom? So we can change these spectra on the top and the bottom. And when they reload, then we will see, then we can compare those and see if they are any closer. And the whole idea is to keep one spectrum. So as we switch to K0 and K5, does it look any better? Not really. What if we move further up the spectral classes to the G stars? And look, so the whole idea, I mean, it might sound like a game. It is kind of a game. We're trying to find where things match up. Things are starting to look a little bit better as we get to the G stars. And if we go to the Fs, again, you want to put one level at the top and one level at the bottom. Hey, we're starting to look a lot similar, aren't we? Not exactly. There's still some other lines in there that don't quite match up, but the spectra are starting to look a lot better. So what if we go to A stars? And again, if you keep one on the top and one on the bottom, that are one's a little bit above and one's a little below. Ooh, those lines are getting way too strong for us. So did we go the wrong way, or do we need to keep going? Well, let's go further up the stars, and let's go to the B stars, to B0 and B2, and look at those. And now this is starting to look promising. That top star looks very close. Not quite exactly, because there's a line here that doesn't quite match, and some are a little bit weaker, but we're starting to see the same pattern. So let's go up to the hottest stars. Let's look at O4 and B0. So we put in O4, so we're going to move B0 down to the bottom, move this one down to the bottom, and then we're going to look at the O4 star and see if that looks any better. So now as we look, we've loaded O4 and B0. Now we see that we do start to get a lot closer. We see how the spectra seem to match up a lot better. Now, we don't have every single possible classification to guess. We don't have an O4 and O5 and O6 and O7. We don't have all of those possibilities. So now we're going to have to estimate. And we're going to have to say, is it closer to O4 or is it closer to B0? What does it look closer to? What has a better match? And then you're going to decide, is it somewhere in between? So is this an O4? Not quite. It doesn't really look like it quite matches up exactly. It's definitely not a B0. So is it an O5, O6, O7? That's the decision you'll have to make. You click on what you want to call it, and you submit your answer, and it will tell you how close you were. I don't expect you to get them perfectly. There's 3 of them to do, but hopefully as you do a couple, you'll start to get a feel for what astronomers actually do to try to classify a star. So that's just a basic summary of what you're doing for this week's discussion. You're going to do this process 3 times, and then you're going to talk about what you thought of the process and your ideas on the process. So hopefully that's helped to explain it a little bit. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you in class.